Wednesday, and I have an exam tomorrow, which I have not studied for. So today we're going to be going into med school and studying for that exam and pulling an all-nighter. It has gotten to this point. I am just so behind on everything. So yeah, this is really sad. The exam is on ERS, so it's your endocrine reproductive system. So we're looking at your hypothalamus. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's like a part in your brain that secretes certain hormones and signals to another part in your brain, which then secretes these signals and hormones to various bodies, and those secrete even more hormones. On top of that, we're learning about the female and male reproductive system from, you know, embryology up until when fertilization happens. Also learning about like breast and male prostate malignancies and what they look like. So it's a massive block worth 7 weeks, and I haven't learned like 3 of the weeks. So I've learned 4, but there's 3 that I had not looked at, and today will be the first time that I've looked at them, which is really scary because my exam is at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow, and right now, let's do a timestamp. It is 2:30 p.m. Wednesday. So what's that? Let me do some quick maths. That's less than 19 hours until my exam, which is really scary because like half of the content I haven't learned yet. But yeah guys, I'm going to be doing an all-nighter. I'm going to be stocking up heaps of caffeine, food, and just show you guys how I study under a super stressful situation, but also show you guys that this is not the most effective way to study. Do not do this, because this is just bad for your physical health, bad for your mental health, just bad in general. But you know, when duty calls, you respond and you lock in, and that's what we're going to do today. First things first is we're going to head to uni. That takes around 45 minutes, but I'm also going to buy some food for dinner and some snacks to keep me powered throughout the day and night. I will be buying more like healthy snacks just because I like long-lasting glucose food that induce anxiety. What that is the feeling of fullness, so I don't want to be constantly snacking on like lollies and stuff. But yeah, after that we'll lock in. I don't know why I've done this to myself. Yeah, like uni has been super busy, but also things outside of uni have been really hectic. So it's gone to this point where like I've had to cram. I hate to cram because it's not effective, but I'm gonna show you that it's gonna be okay and that I'm gonna get a good score, because I believe in half of the time when you go into a test, it's not about how much you know, it's about how much you believe in yourself. I'm just talking smack. I'm so screwed. Alright guys, we are at uni in the section of the library where it's quite quiet, so I have to speak quite quiet. But as I said, there's like 7 weeks of content, 3 of which I haven't studied for. So essentially what I'm going to do first is something called the blurting method, and this method is essentially when you write down everything that you know on like a piece of paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my iPad and my laptop, separate the weeks into like sections, and then I'll write everything I know in week 1, everything I know in week 2, 3, 4. Then I'll do the same for the weeks that I don't know anything on, so like week 5, 6, 7. See how much I know about the topic based off like previous learning or just like guessing. That way I can identify what exactly I don't know, and then go into online resources and like uni lecturers and consolidate on that knowledge. As well as that, I'm going to bring up some of the past IRATs, so like past tests that we've done, to see what kind of questions they ask us, so I know what I need to look for. I feel like this method is really high yield because you're focusing on things that have been assessed and things that are likely to assess you on, and because time is of the essence, I don't have time to like focus on everything, so I'm just going to focus on the most important things, and hopefully those things show up on the exam. For the weeks that I do know, this is like really good revision. I'm also going to be using the Feynman technique and running through the Anki cuts that I've made for those weeks. That's what I'm going to do now, so we'll see how it goes. I definitely recommend using the blurting technique to help identify gaps in your knowledge, but it does also promote active recall, which is really, really good. Hey guys, I hope you guys are all well. I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank today's vlog sponsor, Headspace. And honestly, this couldn't have come at a better time. As you guys probably know, I am always stressed with uni. There is always so much to do, and sometimes it's actually really hard to be present in your life. And we all have this idea of, grinding, working until, you get the job done. But sometimes you actually do just need a mental break and a mental reset. I think it doesn't really matter how much you get done if you're not really there, mentally or spiritually. The most meaningful things that you get done is when you're able to fully invest yourself and be present in your life and the things that you want to achieve. And that's where Headspace has really helped me. It's helped me clear my mind and allow me to focus more deeply on the things that matter to me. Think of it as like a gym and a Pilates and a relaxing space for your brain. Whether you need help with concentrating or need help going to sleep, Headspace has something for you. Me personally, I've been going back to their mindful productivity session, and it really helps me on days that I feel really overwhelmed and I need to practice more mindfulness. I've realized that, I can't be switched on all the time. I do need a break, and it's in those moments when I take a break that when I come back to the work that I need to do, I feel so much more refreshed. The best thing about it, guys, if you want to try it, you can for 60 days completely free. All you got to do is either scan this QR code or use the link in my bio or the link here, and you can try it for 60 days, no strings attached. They also have guided programs and courses on how to manage anxiety, how to manage stress, and how to get a better night's sleep. Things that we all can benefit from. So I think it's an amazing app with amazing content, resources, and courses to help you guys optimize every part of your mental health. And it's definitely helped me during med school. So yeah, I think it can definitely help you guys as well. Look after yourself, guys, and definitely sign up to Headspace. All right, guys, I've done about 4 hours of study. Now we're taking a break. We're doing a trick shot challenge. Gonna see if I can throw this into that bin over there. All right, here we go. All right, first try. Oh. Oh my god.
Two hours later.
Last one. Come on. So close. Alright guys, now the time is 9 o'clock. So I've been here for around about 5 hours, and yeah, so far it's been very good. I've been looking over the content for the weeks that I haven't been able to focus on, as well as doing some Anki cards and consolidating on knowledge that I know. Also did write up using the blurting method. Essentially just wrote out very basically the overview of each week. So hypothalamus, pituitary gland, functions, all the important stuff, thyroid, parathyroid, adrenal glands, pancreas, diabetes, sex and gender, SRY gene, sex differentiation and determination, reproductive life course, breast and male reproductive. I just covered that. There's various inflammatory, benign and malignant tumors that we need to know and how they present. And then just know the difference between benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, and prostate cancer. Benign prostatic hyperplasia is when there's dilation of your prostate, which causes difficulty urinating, but it's benign, so it's not cancerous, not malignant. And then prostate cancer is essentially when you have a neoplasm, and that very similarly affects your bladder and your frequency of urination, similar to BPH, but obviously it's worse because it can metastasize, so it can move to bone, lymph, and the cancer can spread, so that's bad. Then pregnancy, I still haven't gone over this, but I just wrote down everything that I know in terms of trimester, first trimester, third trimester, and just been going over, you know, what I need to know. Here I need to kind of know more in depth about like the specific times of when everything happens, in terms of when the female cervix returns back to normal, when their blood pressure, GFR, hormone levels like return, and what that looks like and stuff like that. So each week we get assessed on the week's content, so it's called IRAT. So I've been looking over all of the old IRATs and going through them as I go through the content, just to see what questions they ask and see if I can get them correct. And if I do get them wrong, cross-checking as to like why I got that wrong, like identifying, is it because I remember the question wrong, I just don't know it, maybe I understand the concept incorrectly and stuff like that. I'm going to continue on doing it and do a little bit of like the Feynman technique, particularly for pancreas and type 2 diabetes. I feel like that one I want to consolidate on. I haven't had time to yet, and yeah, I'll show you guys what that kind of looks like in a second. Alright guys, it is 10 o'clock, so now it is time to eat. Just left the group because they're still studying, but I needed a break, otherwise I'm just gonna die. I bought from home boiled eggs and from Bunny a noodle bowl with roast pork, heaps of meat, roast pork and grilled chicken. When I take a break, I like to make sure that I disassociate from whatever I'm doing. So I'm gonna put on like a video that I just like watch on YouTube or something, just to like really relax my brain. I feel like when I eat, that's like my time alone, my time to just like relax. I really urge you guys, whenever you're studying or cramming, to still take breaks. Still really, really important to look after yourself whenever you can. I don't think it's super useful to like study while you eat. It is useful, but for me personally, I want like some alone time. Anyways, you guys can have the first bite. Here's some roast pork. Yummy. How many hours into my exam? 12 hours. It's kind of scary, I can't lie. That's probably running like live boiled eggs. Really good source of protein, really healthy, gotta stay fit. Alright guys, time is now 2:47, so good time to take a break. We're heading down to the student common room. I'm going to get some grapes, a protein yogurt and a Red Bull because I'm feeling kind of tired. I've got to caffeinate myself. In terms of progress, going well so far. It's really quiet, it's kind of scary. I need to go over the parathyroid stuff, so I know all the mechanisms of like hypothyroidism and hyper, but need to know more about like the adrenal glands and the parathyroids and stuff like that. So yeah, just need to know the anatomy a little bit better, and then need to go over sex and gender and like the follicular phases and stuff like that. So still a little bit more to do, but it's break time. Red Bull. That's gross. Banana. If you're wondering where I got the banana from, 2 days ago. I forgot to eat it. I think one thing that I haven't showed you guys is like me crashing out. I have been crashing out. Don't you worry. There's just stuff that I don't know. This is the least confident I've felt for a block test. Yep. So that's that. So yeah, I think I need to lock in, is what I need to do. I also need a break, bro. There's a thing called histology in medicine, and essentially what it is it's useless. Sorry, I'm gonna piss off a lot of people. But histology is what cells, organisms, what they look like under a microscope. And unfortunately, that's like the one subject that I hate with a passion, but also like it's very hard to differentiate what I'm looking at. Like, I'll set a photo. Like, what am I looking at here? So it is a big part of the exam, but I just realized that I got like 6 hours into the exam. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the high yield stuff. Remember the keywords like glandular, stroma, ductal infiltrating, stuff like that. And then just guess and focus more on like anatomy. I hate my life. Hey guys, I hope you guys are well and you're enjoying the vlog. I just want to take a quick moment to talk about something that I've actually been working on for the longest time, and I'm really, excited to show you guys. And it's the left field polo restock. As many of you guys may or may not know, I have a clothing brand that I'm currently running by myself that means a lot to me. It's a really good creative outlet for me, and ever since I was young, I was always someone who really appreciated fashion and wanted to create something that other people would value. The restock is of our polos, which sold out in less than a day pretty much. And with the polos comes this amazing tote bag as well. I'm not sure you guys know, but whenever I go to uni, I always carry a tote bag, and that tote bag is actually a tote bag that I designed and made. A little bit about the tote bag: it has so many compartments and pockets to put your laptop in. It's fully waterproof on the outside, and it has a really nice feel, a high quality feel to it. But more importantly, we're having the restock of the polos. I know so many of you guys missed out. In my opinion, I think they're the best fitting polos. I never found a polo that would fit my silhouette and torso really well. I wanted something that would accentuate, making you look taller when you're not necessarily that tall. I decided to go for a cropped polo that's oversized. The material is really high quality, it's breathable, it's also 280 GSM, and I wear a medium and I'm 180 centimeters tall. These will be releasing as a drop: the tote bag, the keychain, and the polos, coming in 4 different colors on the 5th of July at 10 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time, so 10 p.m. Adelaide time. I think it's really vital that you guys sign up to the early access. The link is here. Just type up Left Field Clothing or click on the link below, and follow our Instagram to keep updated. I'm going to be doing a giveaway on Instagram, so make sure you follow us and enter yourself into an opportunity to win a tote bag, polo, and keychain. But yeah, everyone who got early access and is part of the email listing, they were able to get in and get their polo, and unfortunately people who didn't missed out. All of the popular colors sold out that. As I said, don't forget guys, 5th of July is when we're dropping. Make sure to sign up to early access so that you guys don't miss out. Anyways, back to the vlog. Thank you. Okay, just learned something that I want to share with you guys that I thought was interesting. This is content from week 3 that I just low-key learned. There's something called Cushing's syndrome, and essentially what that is it's a overproduction of cortisol in your body. Now, cortisol is a hormone, and it induces a lot of things. Your cortisol levels usually spike in the morning when you wake up. Too much of cortisol is bad because it induces, high blood pressure, cardiovascular diseases, also increases your body weight. Some signs would be something called moon face, as well as just being a diabetic. For people who have Cushing's syndrome, there's usually 2 types. There's one where it's a pituitary adenoma, and that's essentially a cancer tumor that is secreting something called ACTH. ACTH is a hormone that induces your adrenal cortex or your adrenal glands to secrete cortisol. So it's kind of look at it as like a pathway. This is your adrenal glands, this is ACTH. If you have a tumor that is producing a lot of ACTH, so I mentioned there's 2 of these, when it goes into here, you're going to produce more cortisol, right? So that's bad. Another mechanism is it could be something to do with your adrenal glands. So there could be a dysfunction that's causing it to produce more cortisol on its own, or you have a cortisol producing tumor, right? So it depends on where this is in the timeline of things. To test it, there's something called a dexamethasone suppression test. So essentially what that is it is a drug. It induces ACTH, and essentially what you use it for is to test if there is an increase in your cortisol levels or decrease. If there's a decrease, that means it isn't Cushing's syndrome because your levels are working fine. Your feedback loop and your negative feedback loop and your pathway from the hypothalamus to your anterior pituitary to your adrenal cortex is normal. But if there isn't a change, that means you probably have an adenoma. You have Cushing's syndrome. Another thing you can do is test midnight salivary cortisol. The reason why you want to check it at midnight is because if you have high cortisol levels, there's no point in checking it in the morning when your cortisol levels are already high. You want to check when they're low to compare them to when they're supposed to be high, so you can kind of compare how high it is when it's supposed to be low. But yeah, Cushing's syndrome, high yield. Learned that in week 2, currently in week 7. I learned it today. Alright guys, quick update. It is 4:26 a.m. I'm gonna take a little break for about half an hour. I've got the Champions League on, but yeah, I've only got 1 week left, which is the reproductive life course, and that's all to do with like follicular development as well as other stuff. Went through sex and gender, and that was about sex differentiation and determination. When I talk about differentiation, it's about when the process of like your genes and certain hormones that encode and essentially allow you to have the genitalia that you currently have. So for example, if you are an XX, meaning you're female, there's a certain pathway of hormones, and some hormones get inhibited to allow you to have internal and external female genitalia. Same with men. In males, sorry, it's important that you have the SRY gene. That's a gene on your Y chromosome that encodes for your internal genitalia, and that whole process is essentially, it leads to production of your Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells secrete something called anti-Mullerian hormone, and your Mullerian duct is what turns into your female reproductive system. Your Wolfram duct is your male. And then you have the development of like Leydig cells, which promote testosterone, and testosterone helps with that whole process as well. And then you have DHT, which is really important in determining and promoting your external genitalia. So just all that stuff, and like some anomalies. So yeah, that's all good. And then yeah, I'm going to cover that week and then run through the reproductive week. But so far it's going pretty good. Mental health update, had like maybe 3 crash outs in terms of just like internally, just kind of been like, oh my god, there's only like 5 hours to the exam and I still haven't covered like a whole week of content, which is scary. But I think it's just important to like, even when you do feel like the world's about to take a massive dump on you, just to continue grinding. I think it's really like the hardest thing to do, particularly when you're stressed and you have a massive hurdle or massive workload, is to just like do it, just to get the ball rolling. I promise you, once you start doing that assignment or doing that project that you have to do for your boss, or like start going to the gym or start that run, it's so much easier once you have momentum to build off, rather than delaying it and you know, just looking at it from afar. I think I told you guys before, but grapes, really healthy, really good. And I've just been snacking on these grapes throughout my study session, and I've only had 1 meal today, like 1 proper meal, and I felt quite full because I've been snacking, but also because I've been eating like nutritious food. It's so important to like look after what you feed yourself. I think in high school I definitely had a habit of like stress eating when I was studying for my year 12 exams, starting to try to get a high ATAR to get into med school. I would definitely just eat 2-minute noodles, like stuff myself with like junk food and stressy, and that would be bad for not only my physical health but also my mental health. And like, it didn't really sustain me for the study sessions. Like, I'd have these peaks of energy and then I'd just crash. No matter how stressful things are, the most important thing is like your health, your mental health. Kind of funny coming from me doing a all-nighter, but even when I am putting myself in a position of stress, it's still so important to like try to look after yourself as much as possible. And one way is by taking constant breaks. I've taken, I think, 3 big breaks just to look after myself, and eating healthy. That will definitely help, and having a positive mindset when you're crashing out. Guys, it's morning. I've been here for way too long, man. Just went for a quick walk. I think I've done pretty much as much like study as I can. Gonna do some like revision in terms of just like running over the notes that I've made and taking a break and drinking some coffee. Yeah. Okay, low key guys, had like 2 coffees, 1 Red Bull, and I can feel my heart beating out of my chest. I got mad palpitations. But it's about 1 hour to the exam, so just gonna relax and chill.